The party arrives at a crossroads, the left road leading towards a village. They can rest at. The right leads into the misty woods where rumor has it people go missing from time to time. Wolves howl in the distance. Soon it will be night. The party decides to play it safe and rest in the village, so they take the left path. Behind your screen you now start to sweat, because you haven't prepared anything for the village. You were so certain they would head for the woods and encounter a hag that lives there. The whole encounter was going to be so amazing and intense. How could you have been so stupid to not plan for it if they actually took the other route? It always worked out so far. They went the way you hoped they would. Whoa. Okay. Relax. Take a breath. It's not that bad. You can salvage that. Let's keep calm and let them pass by an old house on the outskirts of the village. And then the patrons at the local tavern tell them that recently more livestock has been disappearing. One of the elder patrons even mentions that he suspects that old Myrtle might be the one doing this. The barkeep then looks the party up and down and inquires, "Say, you look a bit like adventurers. You wouldn't mind checking out Myrtle and see if everything's in order? Make it worth your time." After haggling for a bit, the party probably agrees. And should the party not agree, Myrtle will come to the tavern and it escalates from there. Myrtle, of course, is the hag. Your encounter happens, the players have an amazing intense fight, and at the end of the evening, with the hag slain and catharsis achieved, one of the players wonders out loud, "Man, we should have gone for the woods. That would probably have been the easy route. Fooled us there." Yeah, totally. This right here is what I like to call the illusion of choice. It's a nifty tool you have in your back pocket should things not go as you expected they would and the session is en route to be boring because the players made a different choice than you expected. Also very useful for one-shots. But fair warning up front, don't overuse it, because your players might notice a pattern and soon feel like they're railroaded all the time, even though you aren't doing that, really. Also, yeah, this is kind of a railroad, obviously, although not the one that is also very obvious to the players, ideally. While running my first game, incidentally the first time I ever played pen and paper role-playing games at all, I had the brilliant idea of putting a crossroad on the path for my players. Of course that meant that I had to plan ahead what will happen on either path. Well, don't be me and have two very detailed plans of what will happen on either of both parts and realize when the time for a decision has come that half of the time you spend prepping this session goes down the drain, cause you gave a very binary choice with very different immediate outcomes. Will they choose to head north to the next village and then take the long way around the mountains, or do they instead head east through the dwarven city and then the mountain range itself? And they will arrive at their choice during the current session, and you have a list of NPCs for both options, unique in their own way. Well, they made their choice, and now everything you planned for the Dwarven City is basically gone. If you think you'd never do that, you're already smarter than 17-year-old me, cause that is exactly what I did. Looking back at the situation, there would have been multiple major changes would have made. Hindsight's being 2020 and all that. But back then I didn't know about the concept of delusion of choice yet either. So now what exactly do I even mean with the illusion of choice BS I keep going on about? Well, As the example in the beginning might have already illustrated, the basic idea is that in some situations the party's choice doesn't matter as much. No matter their choice, the outcome they will receive will always be basically the same. I had to learn it the hard way, so that's why I'm telling you now that you don't have to. Basically, this trick is to give the players more agency than they actually have in some specific situations. Maybe it's for story reasons, maybe it's because you made a mistake. Maybe it's because the decision came earlier than expected, or maybe because the immediate consequences of the decision aren't that important. My personal example just now would have been far easier if I just had a roadside inn ready where the party could pass by and en route to their chosen destination and rest. Maybe while resting there they have some shenanigans or a minor altercation with someone that fills the remaining evening. And now the session ends with a decision made and next session starts with the consequences of this decision, aka they arrive at their chosen destination, for example. But that's no hammer I just told you about. It's a tool for very specific situations, not an omni tool to be used everywhere. It's good to have it in your backhand should you need it. It is also useful to make quick changes on the fly if something happens that isn't supposed to happen this early in the game. For example, when you plan that beneath the local windmill a demon is sealed away and it can only be freed if first the ghost that is bound to the windmill by a fairly easy to break spell is released, the millstone is lifted and the catacombs beneath it are opened. And third, the corpse of the demon is touched and thus awoken. And the players already did all of that. It might be worth considering abandoning the planned consequences for the whole village being corrupted and turned into a horde of undead that is slaughtered by the party, thus basically forcing them to kill all the social interactions they had the whole campaign so far. Don't get me wrong, as it happened, all of this was awesome, but I think that was the beginning of the end for that campaign. This is basically the reverse use of the example from before. Now the players did what you wanted them to do, just not when you wanted them to do it. In this case, you can just shift the trigger for the climax of that whole ordeal to something else they are likely not going to trigger anytime soon. I think what I'm trying to say with this is you don't have to follow your plans and notes to a T if it means that the planned consequences could have short or long-term ramifications for the whole campaign. Use the illusion of choice to spice up the game should the players unknowingly dodge all the spice, but also use it to take that bottle of deadly hot sauce away from their hands should they be in way over their head. But you always have to know yourself when such a situation might occur. So that's just part of being a dungeon master, I think. Well, I hope you can use the illusion of choice sometime soon. Not necessarily because you screwed up, but because something happened and you saw that moment and you had your chance. Bye. Writing bad is bad. So yes, it is bad.